If you were heartbroken by Gundam Evolution, and if you didn't like Armored Core 6 PvP because it was shotguns or tank spam, then this will mend your broken heart and cure your depression. Mechabreak is a 6v6, 3v3, or I guess a 48-player third-person action game focusing on a good time. It shattered my expectations during a play testing session because not only did Mechabreak have good gameplay with all of the in-depth toppings, it also had good quality of life functions. No burger is complete without some onion rings or fries after all. I had the pleasure of getting a sneak peek for a couple of hours, and honestly, it was so good that I had a hard time scripting why it is good. But I will tell you when I realized this game is amazing. I had the opportunity to play some 6v6 objective modes, none of the BR that was mentioned, and none of the 3v3 modes. So this video will specifically be mentioning the 6v6 objective mode. My first game in Mechabreak was the Flying Sniper Mecha, which is in the promotional trailers but is not on a website yet. This Flying Sniper Mech has some really cool abilities that I'm not sure I could talk about yet, but I love the design because it had a huge NC sniper, and that made my neurons activate. I went into the game with my fellow testers and basically absolutely fell in love with the gameplay. You see, I wanted to coin this phrase for Mechabreak. This game has restricted loadouts, but unrestricted actions. The magical thing is, I didn't even know there was a lock-on system with the sniper until I played other mechas. I thought I could only lock on with hipfire, so I went on shooting everyone by doing a little quick manual scoping and then dashing away, and I was rewarded for my efforts. Usually in games like this, free aiming is not as rewarding as just keeping target lock on the enemy character. I was blown away by this because it shows that there's a lot of mechanical depth within the game, but for people who still want a casual game experience, they can forego that and still have really good returns by using a lock-on system. Then I played a lot of the Listening, which you would think is the standard shield and assault rifle mecha, but no, it has a huge melee combo potential. It has the best melee damage in the game so far, and when you die, you become a little Exia. You purge your armor, and you get to run around with an SMG and dagger. Some of my best movement moments were in that second life mode. I was able to dance around the environment, avoiding enemy fire, and distract their forces. You can actually earn back your entire full loadout if you manage to survive long enough. And through playing the Listening, I learned that movement in this game is responsive as hell. In Mechabreak, you have a huge boost bar that recharges slowly. The benefits of this over other systems such as Armored Core 6 is that it gives you unrestricted movement for the duration, but allows for downtime punishment. The movement timing is far greater than some of the ACs that you can build in AC6. Many mechas also have their own dedicated secondary mobility function that has their own resources beyond the primary energy bar. For example, the Falcons can simulate jet flying, the Narukumi has a grappling hook, the Tricera gets to forego all the movement and say, screw you, I have 4 miniguns, I'm going to lock down. If you want a list of all the mechas and abilities that are out so far, you can visit my other video linked in the pinned comment below. The map designs, from what I've experienced, was really thought out. There was enough breathing space for 6 mechas to play around the map. There's room for aerial combat, there's room for close range combat, and in some of these cases, even though there are 6 players on the map, you could have these 1v1s or 2v2s in a completely separate corner of the map where nobody gets to really interact with you. And I think that's really cool. There are a lot of tight corridor spaces, but it's so open for the Falcon to just fly around. It seems like they took a lot of inspiration from maybe MOBA maps or first-person shooter maps. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's actually pretty good. The objective modes that I've played are always center balanced, which means that There's none of this push the cart into the enemy spawn kind of nonsense, because if both sides attack, the defender's advantage is sort of voided, and in a game like this with a lot of HP, defenders usually have a lot of advantages, and I think they avoided that by having a wide map where mobility is really key here in securing some of the advantages and the objectives. There's a lot of little parts about Mechabreak that work together to create a truly good burger. I just don't know if I can cover all the good bits in one video, and here is what I think I like the most. 1. Being staggered doesn't always mean instant death. I am so sick of Armored Core gameplay where if you get staggered, you pretty much just die. In Mechabreak, there's actually a lot of soft crowd control options, but none of them really take you out of the fight for more than, let's say, 2 or 3 seconds. Probably the longest would be about 3 seconds or so. Being stunned doesn't mean you are dead. Being hit with a melee combo is escapable by the second or third strike. This sort of system creates a lot of opportunities to emphasize the movement of the game, because, well, it creates opportunity for teamwork. I was only able to combo someone in the Elise with the help of another teammate backing me up. If I would keep meleeing, the enemy would escape by the third strike. And the third strike is usually where the most powerful hit of a melee combo comes from. Melees can also be parried. This sort of system works with the Elise and also the Panzer. Both of these units have shields. This kind of leads me to a second point. Number 2, teamwork is really, really important. While there were few truly supportive abilities in the playtest, there were a lot of opportunities for teamwork. As I already mentioned, melee combos need help to finish out. Most of the game modes we played were objective based and required team coordination. Thankfully, there is a functioning chat and voice system in the game already. You don't need to worry about hopping into a Discord call with random strangers just to communicate. There are also a counter system going in the Mecha lineup, which creates, a lot of strategy and moving pieces in the match. For example, the Falcon, as a flying mech, has a scanner which can counter the Narukumi's stealth abilities. Mechs also have different resistances. There's energy, ballistic, explosives, melee, something like that, and each have their own stats and weaknesses to a particular damage type. This means that, for example, the Elise has good protection versus most things except ballistic, and this means the Triceras 4 miniguns will do much more damage to it than, let's say, the energy rifle. I think that they will try to keep this game pretty competitive, but honestly, it's not going to be like maybe Overwatch or Gundam Evolution's term of competitive, where it's essentially ultimate building and snowballing. The little actions in Mechabreak count towards your kills and your victory. Number 3, there are a ton of quality of life features in this game. There are mech coloring, smooth menu AI, a kill cam, a pilot system with different stats, a functioning scoreboard with a lot of juicy info, a rank system ready to go, and I guess they will have a 48-player Battle Royale mode. I don't even know how that's even going to work, but I'm excited. Honestly, it came out of nowhere. This have already had more features than a lot of AAA games. I'm shocked at how comprehensive the quality of life features are. Not everything is finalized, of course, but the foundation they've laid can definitely be built into a skyscraper in the future. Some people have had concerns about the monetization. I don't think this is going to be sort of a hardcore gacha game. I get the feeling that the gameplay design is surrounding the idea that all of the mecha will be unlocked at the same time. They did try to push this game as sort of like a competitive game of sorts, so if you didn't have everything unlocked at the same time, it wouldn't be very competitive. And I don't think I don't think this is just speculation. I don't think we're going to have to pay gachas to get stronger mech parts. I feel like there are loadout slots kind of, but those are mostly, I think, for customization and not for stat blocks. Okay, I do have to be honest and critique some of the things that I saw in the playtest. Again, that was probably not the final version that we're going to be getting, but just some things to point out. It's going to be very interesting to see where the balance takes us. I heard that some people think melee is very strong. I sort of disagree because it's really the Elisne that's strong. The other two melee mechas aren't that dominant in my opinion. I think the tier list would go Elisne, then the Welking, then the Panzer. I'm sorry, Panzer fans, it looks really cool, but it just doesn't do all that much damage. I also wonder what the mono unit compositions are going to be like, and if they're going to be a problem or not. During the early testing, I suggested everyone to go Welkin on a sort of capture conquest mode. The Welkin has the ability to create a hard light stasis shielding box that blocks damage and movement. Allies can shoot through it, but not enter. Enemies can shoot the box to get rid of it, but until it's gone, you can't get out of it. So what we ended up doing was having 6 Welkins spamming boxes on cycle. It completely dominated the typical mixed lineup team that the enemy had because it couldn't even get close to capture the point. Plus, the Welkin just has really good all-range damage. It has the bazookas, it has the beam emitters on the back, it has the battle axe. It's a super cool mech. We zoned them out completely. Another mono team composition that our team ran that was absolutely ridiculous was a 6 Elisne. And since the Elisne has good melee and a second life option, we just ran the enemy until either they popped or we popped. I really hope that's not going to be an issue for online play because I definitely think they'll introduce a 1 mecha per slot per team kind of limit. So I really wouldn't worry about this too much, but I think it would be really funny if they kept this for the sort of custom game function. Another thing that I wanted to say is that I was experiencing some, not a lot, of frame drops on my 360 graphics card. This game was pretty intense graphically, I think, but it looks so good. They haven't dropped all the minimum requirements yet, but I really hope it's not going to be absolutely crazy. Yet with all the sort of critiques that I had, I think maybe the tier rising of the monetization is the biggest one that's looming on not only my mind, but everybody else's minds. Will this be a crazy monetized game like Gundam Evolution? I really, really hope not. But I am excited for the future. I am excited because I think it will fill that really good niche Gundam Evolution left, but also pull in new Armored Core fans that were disappointed with some multiplayer aspect. Mechabreak is really skill expressive and responsive, and it has a ton of quality of life features fans expect from a modern game. I was excited to do the playtest. I'm excited to play the alpha later on, and I just can't stop thinking about it. You know, you can sign up too for the closed alpha on the Mechabreak Discord, and you can try it for yourself when the time comes. Until then, please get some water, touch some grass, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.